Welcome everybody to Inside Out. This is a sometimes twice monthly webinar series brought to you by Knollwood, and we're thanking you for joining in. Some of you have been to our webinars or been to Knollwood in person, and others have not. But for those who don't know, I'm Carol Ann McCormick, and I work here at Knollwood with Helen and Elise, who many of you know. Today, instead of having Helen sit in the chair next to me, Helen is actually going to be taking your questions and bringing them to us. And when I say us, I mean myself and Suzanne Rahayman. So welcome. And we're going to start off with just a little overview on Knollwood for people who are just starting to learn about us. So Knollwood is a wonderful, beautiful community located within Washington, D.C. on the very outskirts, nestled right up against Rock Creek Park. So it's a great getaway that's right in your front yard when you do live here. The community is for people 62 plus, and we're a life plan community. Most of the people who move here are coming into the independent living neighborhoods, but Knollwood does also have small assisted and nursing neighborhoods for people who are starting to slow down or face a little bit of decline. So that's all here as well. So welcome. If you miss out on something during the webinar, you can always check back to the Knollwood website at knollwoodcommunity.org. You might even see that at the bottom of your screen. If you want to type in a question for Suzanne, you can use either the chat function or you can use the raise your hand function. And to find those functions in Zoom, you would move your mouse so it's over along the bottom, probably quarter inch of your screen. And then all of a sudden a little menu will pop up. If you move your mouse away, the menu will go away. But that's where you'll see a spot where you can key in questions and key them in anytime you see them happening. So let's move on into our program today. Sitting on my left is Suzanne, and welcome back.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Suzanne frequents Knollwood, but most of the time she's here not to be on a webinar, but she has before, but to really get people situated. And she does so in an amazing, amazing way. In fact, one of the couples that Suzanne recently worked with, the wife came to me not that long after, literally probably 2 weeks later, and says that everything was so wonderful. She was thinking of Suzanne coming back just once every 6 months to help her stay organized. But with that, Suzanne, why don't you tell us what exactly is move management?
Move management, specifically a move manager, is someone who is going to be your personal move consultant throughout the process. This person will help minimize the stress and the anxiety that's often associated with moving by helping you create a seamless action plan to get you through the entire process, whether you're moving next week, next month, or maybe next year. A good action plan in place helps you get to your end goal. So this move manager is similar to a wedding planner or a party planner. They'll help you out throughout the process and try to meet whatever your goals are and what your intentions are. You can use that move manager for as little or as much as you want.
And you are actually physically helping people in their houses, aren't you? Or their condos?
Yes. I worked physically just a couple of days ago, helping someone move from their family home of 40 years into a senior community situation where we had to do all the right sizing and decide what would be given to charity and disposed of, and the entire process. Okay.
So you can tell us, I guess you need to really take it away because this helps me learn more about what you do as well.
All right. So why should you use a move manager? What are the benefits of a move manager? As I explained before, a timeline always helps the whole process run smoothly. Again, whether you're moving next year or you're moving in a month, a timeline is very, very important. We'll look at your end goal, your date of when you want to move into your new community. Hopefully it's Knollwood. And we'll back that up looking at what services you will need either of us or for you to do on your own. We'll put that roadmap together with a timeline of what needs to be addressed in order to reach that date of your move-in. And then we'll help you do the right sizing. We'll help you decide what to move, what to do with the remaining items. And you can choose any degree of service. If you have a family that's helping, or you're very independent and you can do a lot of it on your own, you could still use the move manager to help you with the timeline, the decision-making process. And so you can pick and choose. You don't have to have the full service.
It looks like Helen.
Do you have a question?
We have a question. So do you help people even if they aren't planning on moving for 2 to 3 years? So I guess that's kind of spurred by your timeline.
Yes, of
comment.
course, of course. There's never a bad time to start the process. The earlier, the better, of course. So perhaps you have a lot of organizing, maybe decluttering and downsizing kind of things that could happen to prepare you for that move. Even if you don't know the size of apartment or where you're moving to yet, you still know that you're going to have a bedroom, you're going to have a kitchen, you're going to have a living room. Start with the basics, and those rooms that are currently in your family home might be overly cluttered. We could help start going through the clutter, whether it's stacks and stacks of magazines that have accumulated over the years, or mail and paperwork. Maybe that paperwork hasn't been organized and you've got a mix of important documents and junk mail mixed into piles. Then we can help you start going through that. You can slowly start to decide that perhaps you don't need the 6 bookcases floor to ceiling of books. Then maybe you can start pulling your favorite books out. So it's never, ever too soon to start.
Do people sometimes, well, I know the answer to this, it's a rhetorical question, but sometimes people actually use you and they move and then they go back and sell the house?
Absolutely. And that is the least stressful way to do it if you can financially do it that way. It's nice to focus on your new home and get all organized and settled and live in it perhaps for a while to make sure that you have everything that you want from the home. And then you can go back, we can help you go back to the home and clear it out, find new space, new homes for the remaining items. We can even ship them to family members or friends across the country.
Thank you. All right.
So why right size? Well, of course, if you're looking at downsizing or moving out of your family home of 3,000 square feet and you don't want to take care of it any longer and you want to downsize to maybe 1,200 square feet or smaller, you have to consider your future lifestyle and what do you need to get to do to reach that future lifestyle goal. And that's where we can come in and help you decide. Perhaps your family home is weighing you down financially because it now needs a lot of repairs. And you're putting more money into the repairs of the house when you could be living in a senior community like Knollwood, not having to do those repairs. Or maybe the home is not fitted properly for you anymore. If there's a lot of stairs, you're running from one floor to get the dirty clothes and you're having to go all the way down to the basement to the laundry room. So all of these future lifestyle situations and options are considered when we're helping you to right size. And once you reach that point of right sizing, then it gives you hopefully a sense of freedom, that you're not weighed down any longer with emotional or financial or physical baggage that perhaps your current home or situation is weighing heavily on you. So right sizing creates freedom for you, hopefully minimizes the stress in your current situation, and it helps you start looking to your future lifestyle. Well, we kind of touched on this a little bit earlier with the question. Never too soon enough. It's better to make these decisions of right sizing while you're still able to, and you're able to make those decisions on your own or with maybe assistance from a move manager or from family and friends. It's never a good situation to wait too long and that you have to leave that decision-making in the hands of someone else. So when you procrastinate, you also run into perhaps more costs because you haven't had enough time to donate items, which is all free to you if you utilize donations, charity pickups, your own trash. So again, start downsizing today. Tomorrow morning, your cup of coffee, you could have a stack of paper on your kitchen table and you could be going through that first stack.
I think there are other costs too associated with procrastination, and this ties into that health bullet on your slide. Some people procrastinate and their procrastination has outpaced their good health and they have started a decline. And it may not be an illness, but maybe it's just a slowing down, but that could still make somebody ineligible for assisted living ineligible for independent living and a candidate for assisted living. I'm actually just encountered that situation. Assisted living costs a lot more. And people who do make a move like this while they're capable and able, because you cannot be incapable and your abilities cannot be declined when you come here to live, but those abilities typically last longer in a setting like Knollwood. And so instead of increasing your costs over time, you may be able to decrease them a little because you may be less likely of needing assisted living or even nursing later.
And the stress and the work involved in preparing for your move can take a toll on you. And so it's better to do it while you've got a higher level of energy, you've got the stamina, and the mental capabilities to make good sound thought decisions. So yeah, all those things come into play.
Good points. Yeah, there's a lot to do here. Now you're getting into lists.
So how do we start the process? There's several steps, and one of the most, I believe, one of the most valuable steps is the space planning, because a lot of people have a difficult time moving from their family home of 3,000 square feet or more, and they're downsizing and they wonder how is their big furniture going to fit in a smaller apartment. That's where we can certainly help you. We will do a computerized floor plan of your new home. We'll come in and work with you on measuring the furniture that are your must live with. I can't get rid of them, and we'll see how we can make it fit in your space. Once we have your furniture in the space and everything is to scale, we can sit down in front of a computer with you or in a large format copy of the floor plan, and we can talk about moving furniture around. Perhaps you don't like the head of your bed on the wall that we suggested. Well, we can take the computer and move it around to the other wall and move the, perhaps a desk at the foot of the bed or off over to the window. But we build all the furniture, build the floor plan for you so that we can see how it's going to look in your new space.
Do you ever find that you find yourself repurposing items for people?
Yeah,
I always
very
use
good
this
point.
in one room.
Yes, very good point. When you're downsizing or right sizing, perhaps that large dresser that sits at the foot of your bed is a bit too long, or maybe there's not enough walking space between the foot of the bed and the dresser, but it would make a great TV stand in the living room.
Storage too, this.
Because it has all the space for the drawers. You could put your linens or overflow of kitchen, or perhaps you need the bedroom linens, bath linens, bed linens. Although all the closets at Knollwood are
They're
very big.
Yes, if you haven't come to Knollwood to see some apartments, come on in.
They're very large closets. But yes, it's good to look at pieces of furniture that could be used in different rooms that you never thought of in your own home to get better usage of storage space.
So sometimes a new eye brings
Yes,
to light new ideas.
exactly. You look at it every day for the last 40 years and you can't imagine that not being in your bedroom.
But you don't have to get rid of it. You
Right.
found just a new way to use it.
Right, right. We always try to keep the pieces that are most dear to you. We want to surround you with the things in your home that make you happy, that make you feel good. We try to recreate, even though it's a smaller space, a lot of times people come in with a big smile on their face once they see their apartment set up and they're like, this is just like a miniature version of my home. So we try to recreate whatever your comfort factor is in your home. Maybe it's a miniature office. Maybe it's being surrounded by books. And maybe you don't care about the dining room, having a large dining room table. Maybe you care more about turning it into a library. Maybe it's floor to ceiling bookcases. We can rethink all these rooms in your new home in different ways.
This is the getting rid of.
Yes, this
part.
is the hardest part, what to do with those things. First of all, look for all the free options. It's much easier to donate and get rid of, and that's the benefit of advanced planning. It's much more expensive to have to hire someone to haul it away for you. So first, reach out to your family and friends, neighbors. Your church might have families in need. Reach out to these people to find new homes for some of the things that can't move with you. Now, if they are of value, we do have a lot of experience in determining what is a donation or what might have resale value. We do work with auction houses in the area that we reach out to see if any of these pieces, be it furniture or china or silver, whether there could be a resale value, and we can deliver those items for you to the auction houses. Then if you are in a single family home and you have enough items to have an old-fashioned estate sale where people actually come into the house and purchase items, that's another option that's been around for many, many years. And then maybe an option you have not considered or not familiar with is there are also online type estate sales where we can help set up for you and manage that process as well if you prefer no one to come into your home.
Well, that might be fun to do as a whole unique little topic sometime.
How to
Yeah,
sale options.
yeah.
Mhm.
Can you give some examples of what types of household, like maybe furnishings, are not selling at all and are donatable, and what things might be sellable?
Of course, of course. Those beautiful antiques that we all collected and are very dear to us, and they may be in beautiful condition. If they're large armoires, china cabinets, dark wood, they do not have a real high resale value right now. The younger generation are looking for more contemporary furnishings, lighter, smaller scale. So it's all about supply and demand, really. And right now, the large antiques do not have a large demand. We're all in smaller places, living in a city like DC in this area. So people are looking for lighter, more contemporary. People aren't using china or sterling silver so much anymore. So that can be, even though you paid, a considerable amount of money for some of those things, it may not be garnering the same value today. But you have to look at, well, if I get a bit for to sell those items, a bit of money for them, then it helps pay for some of your move costs. Rather than if you have no one to give them to, if family and friends, a lot of our children aren't interested in our stuff. They have their stuff and they have different tastes today. So
What types of things do sell?
so if, if you're lucky enough to have furnished your home with more contemporary or lighter weight type furniture, lighter wood, there still is a value for some artwork. Hummels, a lot of people at this age collected Hummels and Lladros, and back in the day, they were pretty expensive. Today, there's thousands of them out there, and they're not really that garnering a very high price.
My mother has
A good collection.
Not too.
You're going to inherit those.
No, oh no, my sister will. And my sister didn't turn down anything. So,
But if it's not, if it can't be sold, then we can certainly find other homes for them, like charities. So that takes us to the next slide. Donations. So it's always best if you have planned ahead to start utilizing charity sites. There's a lot of charities that will come to your home and pick up items, and that saves you money in the long run. Now, there are some restrictions, and some of those restrictions have centered around COVID, and mattresses, soft furnishings like sofas, sometimes are difficult to get rid of, have to be in very, very good condition. Mattresses, no. Those we can dispose of for you. There might be a new mattress. It might be only 6 months old, but it's still, we can't, very, very difficult to find a new home for that. So if you have any family or friends in need of a new mattress, that you should reach out to them. Acceptable items for donations. Again, it's very hard to donate large pieces of furniture like armoires and china cabinets, large dining room tables, because people don't have the space for it. Neither do the charities have space to put this in their warehouse. Just takes up too much space. So a lot of donation acceptable items are smaller pieces like kitchen. A lot of, most everything in the kitchen is donatable. If you've got extra serving pieces, cookware, artwork, if it's not gigantic, is acceptable items. Knickknacks, even though they may not be sellable, knickknacks are always widely accepted as a donation. So I could touched on how to save some money in the overall cost of your move cost. And that is, again, we touch on, let's plan ahead. And if you can utilize your normal trash service every week by putting out something extra, a few extra bags each week, you're already paying for that service. So why not start utilizing it? Fill up that trash can. If they allow a certain number of bulk pickups each year, maybe you can put a piece of furniture out at the curb and you can have a bulk pickup. That's all, it's things that you're already paying for and won't have to be figured into your overall move cost in the end. Now, if you have a considerable amount in your house and you've got to get out of your house sooner than later because you need to sell it to be able to move perhaps to your new home, sometimes the cheaper way to go is to bring one of those large dumpsters to the home and fill it on site. That's rather than taking truckloads away or using a junk removal service. You're paying for the labor, the manpower. So look for ways to mitigate your cost of disposing of trash. Have, if it's donated items, have people pick them up. If you have family and friends or church groups that are interested in those items, see if they can pick them up rather than hiring someone to deliver them.
I do know every now and then different churches or temples, they sometimes help with refugee families, and they do sometimes need furnishing that might not otherwise be able to
Right.
find a better place for.
Mhm.
And then sometimes you might be able to have a little bit of a tax write-off for that.
Right.
But
They
you have
might
to
be
have to-
starting out, they have an empty house, an empty apartment to fill, and they are grateful for whatever they can get. So it's nice if you reach out to any synagogues or churches, anyone involved in that, to find a family in need.
Yeah.
Next. So what does a typical move look like? What is the time frame like, and what happens prior to move day?
But this is a typical move when you're
This
having
is
it
typical.
done with people that are professional versus like waiting and hoping
We
your
could-
family will kick in and help
Right.
in, or yeah.
This goes a little bit faster than if you were doing it on your own. But a typical move with us would look like on day one, we would have already done all the advanced planning with the floor plan in place. All the organizing has been done. And so on move one, our movers and our move manager comes in and does the entire packing and load. Now, this is if it's going into a typical, 1-2 bedroom apartment. Maybe that pack and load might move into day two, or maybe we'll do a pre-pack in order to prepare for that pack and load day. So everything gets packed, it gets loaded on the truck goes back to our warehouse, secured overnight, so that on day two, we can arrive at your new home ready to unload first thing in the morning. So as our movers are unloading, the move managers are in the new home unpacking as boxes are coming in. They're overseeing the layout of the furniture and where things are placed. As they unpack, they're organizing your cabinets, your closets to make sure everything is in move-in condition. They'll even put the sheets on your bed and the towel bars on the bathroom bars. So when you walk through, it's ready to move in. All the packing debris is removed at the end of the day, and there is no sign of moving.
She's actually very honest about that. There is no sign of moving. Not too long ago here, one of our managers was going to an apartment to check on something, and he knew that the people had just moved in 2 days prior. He knocked on the door, they welcomed him in, and then he thought he was in the wrong place. He came, as soon as he was done there, he came running down to tell us. And the reason he thought he was in the wrong place is because, first of all, the husband was already in his home office because he works full time. And of course, it was just not that long ago, so work is on Zoom. But everything looked like they had been living there for months, and he just walked into someone's ordinary day. But he just came because he was like, couldn't believe that he was there, and they'd only moved in 2 days before, and there was no sign.
No sign of boxes.
Or disarray or anything. Yeah.
So, and if you have an extensive artwork collection, we try to hang pictures the same day as your move-in day. But if time doesn't allow, maybe you have a larger amount of art than most people, we can return on day 3 and hang all the artwork for you. So that's what a typical move looks like. There can also, if it's a smaller move, it could possibly happen in one day where we pack, load, and deliver if it's a small move. And then, of course, if it's a larger move, it may extend into day 3. Now, if we need to go back and help you downsize and clear out the family home, then as we've touched on before, it's always nice to have the convenience of doing that after you've settled into your new home, to go back and prep for perhaps turning the family home over to a realtor. So what is tagging? Tagging is something we'd like to do prior to the pack and load day. It happens about a week to 2 weeks prior to the pack and load. And we use the floor plan that we've all decided upon, which items are moving, and each item has a number associated with it that correlates with the number on the floor plan. We go through the house and we tag with blue painter's tape. It's non-adhesive, and we put a piece of that on each piece of furniture with the number and the room that that piece of furniture is destined for in your new home. So that on the pack and load day and the unload day, it's very clear what pieces of furniture are moving and where they're moving to. So that helps the whole move process run smoother during those 2 days. It helps us decide on the right size crew to put on the job. We get a final supply count on number of boxes, what size boxes we need to bring on site on the pack day. And it also just fine tunes any last minute move details. Perhaps you decided that your daughter really wants the dresser in her childhood bedroom delivered, and maybe she lives down the block from Knollwood. Well, on move day, on the unload day, we can certainly deliver that piece of furniture to a family member as well. So if it's very well organized and we feel the advanced tagging helps us get through the move day with less time and energy consumed. So in the end, it actually saves you money.
What about if somebody wanted that dresser sent to somebody in Illinois?
We can do that as well. We can ship items all over the country. In fact, all over the world. We have items going to foreign countries as well. We can do as much or as little. It can be one piece. It can be a couple boxes that we can arrange to ship. We have a full service move anywhere around the world. So the pre-move, before the pack and load, we like to suggest to you to have something like an overnight bag packed, which might have what you need to live with over the next 24 hours, 48 hours. Maybe those are important meds that you need hands on. Maybe it's clothing or any special food items or anything you need to feel comfortable. Because after the pack and load on day one, you may not have a spare bedroom with an extra bed in it because all your furniture that's going to the new home is on the truck overnight. So we like to say, pack an overnight bag. Maybe you're going to go stay in a guest suite at Knollwood. Maybe you choose to stay with a family member or a hotel. But once our packers arrive on pack day, they get down to business very quickly. And we don't want to slow things up by them accidentally having put something you needed in a box and we have to go searching for it. So the pre-move is important, that you have everything put away securely so that we don't accidentally pack it. So then also we have a walkthrough when the crew arrives, usually around 9 a.m. We do a walkthrough with you if you're available, and we talk about what's moving, if anything has changed. The crew then gets underway and they protect all furniture leaving the house with padded moving blankets. We bring on all the packing supplies, and the move managers start to pack up your items. And they pack in a different way than a typical packer would pack, in that if that china cabinet is lucky enough to make it to your new home and you do have a beautiful collection of things on every glass shelf, we take pictures of each shelf and we try to recreate it so that everything is placed in the same manner when we get to the new home. So when they pack that, they're going to label each layer in the box as to what shelf it came from.
Do you do things like that if you're doing somebody's kitchen or their desk or something too?
Possibly if it's that important to them. We have had clients that their books are very important to them. And this one particular client had a very large collection of books, and he had them all organized by title or genre or by author, almost like a library. and he wanted them put back in that exact order.
Mhm. Okay.
So we made sure we did that. We took pictures of each shelf. We packed them in boxes labeled accordingly. So whatever is most important to you, if that kind of organization is important to you, then during that pre-move tagging session, you'll point that out and we'll make sure that we follow through with your needs. So then once we get through the pack day, sometimes we ask you to come back before we depart to do a second walkthrough of the house to make sure we haven't missed anything, to make sure the closet down in the basement perhaps got those 2 winter coats packed up. We just like to confirm that everything you wanted moved out of your home is on our truck. So that's what day 1 looks like.
Okay. I think we had a question. If you can go back, I think we had a question on this slide. I'm not sure. I thought somebody was keying one in. Looks like we have more than one question.
We do.
Okay.
It's not, it's a.
They can key them in whenever they want.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
it's not specific to day 1, but they want to know, kind of hand in hand, what do you think is most helpful to customers and really what sets Moyer apart? So what's a little tip you can give our viewers here? And what
Well-
makes you all different and better?
Well, I just touched on one of the things I think that makes us different is the attention to detail. That we're just not regular movers, that we come in and put everything in a box and we drop it off and we don't pay attention to where it belongs, where it came from. It ends up in an odd room. I think what sets us apart is that we are packing with the way we see it organized in your own home, if that's important. We want to recreate it in your new home so that, one, you can find it in the appropriate place, and that it looks similar to you. Like I pointed out, the example of the china cabinet. And the other question, the first question? So.
What do you feel is most helpful to
Okay.
customers? So a good tip.
Mhm.
Mhm.
If you're doing something on your own, a tip of advice would be, again, we can never overemphasize the importance of starting early. That's the best #1 tip, is starting early, not to wait till the last minute to begin the process. And if you were hiring a move manager, I'd say the most useful service is probably the floor plan service. If you don't have a talent for estimating size of furniture in relationship to a room, you don't want to end up with too much furniture and feeling overcrowded in your new home. So I would say the space planning is maybe one of the best services that a typical mover wouldn't provide either. And depending on your budget, you can just, we're an a la carte type service. You don't have to have all, you can pick and choose. So you could just pick and choose the space planning service if that's all that's in your budget, or maybe you have family members that are going to help you pack and unpack. So that's part of the pre-move planning when you're working with a move manager, is to decide what services are important to you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that was good. Thank you, Helen, for watching the questions.
Mhm. Good questions. So day 2, we have arrived usually again at 9 o'clock at the new home, and we begin the unload. And I think I've mentioned, usually we like to have our move managers, depending on the size of the job, located in the new home. And they are unpacking the boxes. And as they're coming in, as the guys depart to go down to the truck to get another load, they're taking the trash with them. So it's kind of a well-oiled assembly line to keep things moving throughout the day. The move managers, again, are setting up the home to try to replicate the home you came from, organizing closets, bathrooms, kitchens. About midday, you don't have to be, most of the time our clients are not present during this process. We like to just get underway and move, make some headway, and about midday, we'll call you in and you can come in and see how things are rolling, maybe make some other suggestions. Sometimes, even though we've agreed to a floor plan, when we actually see it in the space, maybe you've changed your mind and you'd like the sofa moved to another wall in the living room. That's fine. This is the time midday on day 2 to make those decisions while we still have a crew here to be able to move furniture around for you. So at the end of the day, the movers have emptied the truck. We've unpacked. We've removed all the boxes and the packing debris, and we are doing a final walkthrough with you.
I'm gonna throw my own question in. Because one thing that we haven't talked about today, and I know we got to get to day 3 here eventually, but what about garages, attics, and basements?
The
know?
collection pits
Yes.
for
What
things
about-
we haven't looked at in
Yeah.
years.
Mhm.
We can clear those out for you. It's not unusual that people have tucked away important holiday decorations in the attic or their garage or basements. And that's, again, the importance of hiring a move manager. They can work with you and decide and pull out those important holiday decorations. I'm sure you don't and can't take all of them that you've accumulated throughout a lifetime, but someone can work with you to try to pull out the important ones, maybe the ones that have special memories for you. Maybe you downsize to a smaller Christmas tree if you plan to put a Christmas tree up, or maybe it's tabletop holiday decorations, but we help you downsize that. Typically, those accumulate in attics or basements or garages. But yes, we will go through those spaces with you to determine if there's anything of importance that you want to take.
What about things in the garage, or it could be the basement, like tools, yard equipment, like what and how, where do those things go? I
Well,
mean,
we
are they-
always-
is there a resale market or
Well, tools
donation?
are always a hot item,
Okay.
a hot commodity, but you also probably want to maybe, we recommend making a small toolbox. You don't take everything from your garage, but who knows, you might need a hammer or a screwdriver. Maybe you have something you just want to piddle with. It's always nice to have a small toolbox with you. Yard items, maybe you offer to neighbors or a yard crew or some young person helping you cut the grass, or not a large resale value on that unless they are brand new, fairly new.
Does Habitat for Humanity take anything like that?
Yeah, that is one source as well that takes nearly anything.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't turn much away. I think there's another slide later of places that we can
Okay.
take things.
I jumped the gun. Okay. Day 3.
So that's
No,
what
I've seen
move-in
it.
day looks like.
Yeah. We missed the
I
slide.
thought we did.
Yeah. All right, well, I guess we'll just talk about this.
So
There is,
We-
well, you can talk about day
we-
3 because,
day 3,
Yes.
we will either come back and fine tune anything in your new home that we were not able to complete on day 2. That might be picture hanging. That might be further organizing of a closet. It might be organizing a storage unit. And even if it doesn't happen on day 3, maybe you want to live in your new home for a while and you want to call us back later to hang those pictures. Some people like to live and make sure that the furniture is in place before they decide on where they want their artwork hung. Some are so exhausted throughout this whole process that they just need to get in and settled and rest, and we come back later, a week later, 2 weeks later, and we organize the closet, the cabinets in the kitchen, So if it can't be done in 2 days, then we'll certainly follow up on day 3 or whenever you're ready for us to come back. But we certainly, our goal is to finish your move. So it's in move-in ready condition by the end of day 2. So how do you get started? We offer a free complimentary approximately hour consult where I'll come into your home. We'll walk through and see what you have, what you're thinking about, what your goals are. And I can offer recommendations, offer what a move might look like for you in terms of the services that you may need, how much time, the approximate cost of what a move might look like for you. So you can reach out to the number you see on the screen and set up an appointment. It doesn't matter whether you're moving next month or you're moving next year. It's always a good time to get started, and the consult can come at any time in that stage.
What if somebody's not moving for 2 or 3 years?
Well, that's okay.
It's even better.
It's even better. It can start at any time.
Now, what is
There's
this
not a right time.
little pile of cards you have here?
Yes. So when you come in to see the sales and marketing team at Knollwood, they will offer you a gift card of a $50 complimentary services from Moyer Move Management. It can be applied to packing materials, to a sort and organize session to prepare for your move. Basically anything, any services Moyer Move Management can offer you. We have a $50 coupon for you.
Very nice. Maybe I'll sell these. No.
Mark it up.
They have no. Yes.
Any
They've no
other
cash value.
questions?
If you have any more questions, key them in now because we're getting ready to kind of wrap up. And this has been recorded today. So if you want to look at it again, you can look at knollwoodcommunity.org and you'll see where this webinar was recorded. So maybe you tuned in late, or maybe you want something clarified. If you want something clarified, call Suzanne for sure. You can also, actually, we've done this webinar earlier, either in the year or late last year, and probably different questions are different. It might be slightly different, so you might want to watch that one again. But you can always check out our website and look at this. It will not be up probably for maybe 2 days. But once the recording is finalized, it will be posted in the same area where you linked into the Zoom. And if you want to come and see me or Helen and take a look at Knollwood, or you've been here before and you want more information, or you want to come and get a card, we're not going to mail them to you. No. But anyway, yeah, and our tours are no pressure. And then it looks like Helen does have.
I
Another
do
question?
have one more question, and I know you talked a little bit about it earlier, but it was regarding just the services. So, like, let's say someone they want their family members want to help them move, but maybe they need your help with right-sizing or figuring out the space. Can they break up the services that way?
Yes, of course. You can pick and choose, time it at your convenience. If you only want the floor plan service and you're going to do everything else, that's perfectly fine.
Fantastic.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you, everybody. And we will say good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. And we hope you'll come back to our next webinar in June, or hope that we'll see you in person.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining.